Some time ago, a younger Izuku Midoriya stands up to Katsuki Bakugo in order to defend another child from being bullied. Katsuki doesn't take Deku seriously and mocks him for being quirkless and attempting to play hero. Back to present time, a now 14-year-old Izuku watches as heroes battle an enormous villain. One day long ago in Qingqing City, China, a luminescent baby was born with a unique power. Then, as time passed, the similar phenomena happened all over the world, and soon the majority of the population had obtained superhuman powers known as quirks. Due to that, people were able to pursue heroism as a profession. As backdraft keep citizens at a safe distance, Kamui Woods battles the gigantic criminal. Kamui Woods states that the villain used his quirk for illegal purposes, and uses lacquered chain prison on him in an attempt to stop his movement. However, Empty Lady shows up and uses Canyon Cannon to defeat him. Several people start photographing the heroine as she declares that today is her debut and asks for the rest to be left up to her. Izuku starts rapidly taking notes about Empty Lady's quirk, Gigantification. A man wonders if he's aiming to be a hero, wishing him good luck, to which Izuku happily answers that he'll do his best. At Aldera Junior High, a teacher lectures the class about considering their futures. He says he will hand out the printouts on the students' desired life course, but knows they all want to be heroes. As the class starts using their quirks, he reminds them they're not allowed to use them during school hours. Katsuki tells the teacher not to group him with everyone else because he's superior. His classmates yell at him for that, but Katsuki tells them to shut up, and they remember he's aiming for UA High School. As the students comment about the difficulty of the exam, Katsuki declares he aced the mock exam and intends to surpass even All Might as the top hero. The teacher mentions that Izuku also wants to go to UA. The whole class then turns to face Izuku, erupting in laughter moments later. Izuku's classmates say there's no way he will be able to get into the hero course if all he can do is study. Izuku attempts to defend himself, but Katsuki aims an explosion at him, saying that Izuku shouldn't put himself in the same level as him since he's quirkless. Izuku explains that he is not trying to compete with Katsuki, and is only trying to follow the dream he had since childhood because he will not know if he can accomplish it if he doesn't try. Katsuki says that the exam is impossible for him, as the whole class looks down on Izuku, snickering. Elsewhere, a villain with a fluid, slime-like body is on the loose. As a crowd nearby watches him run away, a person comments that there is no end to villains. A man then answers that there indeed is an end to them, because he is there. Back at Izuku's middle school, he picks up his notebook while reading about the incident on his phone, but as he gets ready to get home and take notes, Katsuki approaches, exploding the notebook with his quirk. He then throws it out the window and tells Izuku, who does not reply to his taunts, to give up on UA and dive off the rooftop. As Izuku picks up his notebook, he remembers an incident from his childhood, watching a video of All Might making his debut as a hero, saving over 100 people. Izuku says he wants to be just like him but is later told by a doctor to give up. He has 2 joints in his pinky toe, which shows that he is quirkless. Later that day, Izuku watches the video again, crying, and asks his mother if he can still be a hero like All Might, to which she starts crying and apologizes. Back to the present time, Izuku is attacked by the runaway slime-like villain shown before while walking home. Suddenly, All Might appears and uses Texas Smash against the villain, a powerful wind pressure move that defeats the villain. Izuku vaguely sees All Might and faints shortly thereafter. Once Izuku wakes up, he's shocked to see his idol right in front of him. He asks for his autograph but sees it's already in his notebook. After seeing Izuku is safe, All Might starts leaving with the villain in his custody, but Izuku grabs onto his leg and ends up flying with him. When All Might realizes it, he tells Izuku to let go of him, but Izuku says he'd die if he did, so All Might looks for a place to land on. All Might starts bleeding from his mouth and gets worried due to it. All Might lands on the rooftop of a building. Izuku asks the man if someone who doesn't have a quirk could also be a hero like him. Izuku asks the number 1 hero if someone who doesn't have a quirk could also be a hero like him. As Izuku explains his ambitions, All Might reaches his limit and transforms into a lanky human. Izuku is shocked to see his true form, and All Might explains his transformation by showing the boy a wound he'd gotten 5 years prior, and gives the boy a lecture on the responsibilities of a pro hero. A pro must always be ready to risk their life, and so he cannot tell Izuku he can do it even while being quirkless. As he takes the stairs down the rooftop, he notices that the villain he had captured is missing and that there are explosions in another area of the city. At the scene of the explosions, Death Arms and other heroes are trying to fight the Sludge Villain attempting to take Katsuki's body, but to no avail. All Might watches, scolding himself for wasting time and now being unable to fight. Izuku thinks about All Might's words while walking down the street, and approaches the crowd watching the explosions. He notices it's the villain All Might saved him from and realizes it must be his fault. The hero is now unable to save the new victim, mentally apologizing. However, after realizing the villain has Katsuki hostage, an erratic Izuku rushes to his rescue while All Might is stunned at this as the other heroes attempt to stop him. Izuku remembers his notes and strikes the Sludge Villain with his bag, giving him an opening to get close to Katsuki. As Izuku desperately tries to help, Katsuki asks why he's there, and Izuku answers that it is because Katsuki's eyes were pleading for help, and he couldn't bear to watch him die. The Sludge Villain recovers and attempts to attack Izuku, but All Might protects him. All Might admits he scolded the boy for something he hadn't done himself, risk his life in order to save other people, as a pro-hero. Inspired by Izuku's bravery, All Might uses his great strength to destroy the Sludge Villain with a Detroit Smash while freeing Katsuki at the same time. Afterwards, the heroes scold Izuku for risking his life and praise Katsuki for fighting back. Later that day, Katsuki confronts Izuku and tells him that he never asked to be saved and that Izuku shouldn't look down on him. Then, All Might meets up with Izuku again and says that the boy was the one who made the difference in the previous situation, despite being quirkless, and that he did the same thing other top heroes had done before, moving before he could even think in order to save another person. At last, All Might tells a crying Izuku that he can become a hero. Izuku cries tears of joy for having his dream acknowledged by his idol. All Might tells Izuku that he is worthy to inherit his strength, and proposes to give him his quirk, confusing Izuku. All Might says that his quirk can be passed down and has selected Izuku as his successor. All Might tells him that the name of his power is One for All. Izuku asks why All Might would give his quirk to him, to which All Might replies that he doesn't mind giving it to him and because he shined more than any of the other so-called heroes during the Sludge Villain's attack on Katsuki Bakugo. After All Might's explanation, Izuku doesn't hesitate to accept the proposal. All Might begins to train Izuku in order for his body to be strong enough to inherit One for All. All Might has Izuku clean the Takoba Seaside Bay of its trash as a great way to strengthen Izuku's body for the next 10 months, as UA's entrance exam begins by then, wanting Izuku to become a worthy vessel by that time. All Might gives Izuku an intense training schedule for the young man to follow in the coming months. During his training, Izuku overworks his body and All Might notices that he has gone beyond the schedule they had agreed on. All Might scolds him for this, fearing it will have the opposite effect they were looking for. Izuku replies that he works so hard because he wishes to excel at UA and become a hero just like All Might. This gives All Might a brief insight into Izuku's passion for heroism. After 10 months of intense training, it is now the day of UA's entrance exam. Izuku has cleaned up Takoba Seaside Bay of its trash. As a result, Izuku's body is now more refined and muscular, which All Might claims is now a worthy vessel for One for All. All Might gives Izuku a piece of his hair to eat, much to Izuku's confusion. All Might says that it doesn't matter how he takes his DNA, but due to the entrance exam beginning in a few hours, he needs to inherit it immediately. Izuku arrives at UA High School in time for the entrance exam. As he is about to enter UA, Izuku trips but is saved by a girl's quirk. The girl wishes him good luck, which leaves him speechless, shocked that he managed to talk to a girl.